What's going on, everybody? It's Warren. Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder, where we talk all things Marvel and everything relating to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And before we get started, spoiler warning, if you have not seen episodes 1 through 9 of Wandavision. But if you have, or you haven't and you just don't care, the Wandavision finale was great. We were wrong about a lot of our theories, we were right about some, but still, it was action-packed, super emotional, and it did what it was supposed to do. It wrapped up the story of Wanda in Westview. But the post-credit scene, the second post-credit scene, did set up the next event for Wanda, or now, as we'll call her from here on out, the Scarlet Witch. And one thing that everybody has been asking about that second post-credit scene and after the finale of WandaVision is, of course, is the Scarlet Witch going to be a villain? This was actually a big question that fans had going into WandaVision. Is Wanda going to come out the other side of this as a new villain of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and specifically for Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? Well, in this video, I'll talk about how I do believe she will become a villain, but not exactly how everybody thinks, because there is still a huge big bad villain coming to the MCU and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where I believe that the Master of the Mystic Arts, Doctor Strange, and the Scarlet Witch will have to team up together to defeat this enemy. So let's dive into it, but if you're new, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel news and videos. The inherent question of, is Wanda, or the Scarlet Witch, good or bad, has been asked since before WandaVision even came out, when we knew that she was going to create this fake reality. But as the show went on and she held people hostage, and her herself even questioned if she was indeed the villain, this question was asked more and more. Is she good or bad? Well, it's your classic, she's a good person who did some bad things. Originally done by accident, her chaos magic simply exploded and created what she wanted, her perfect life with her perfect family. However, ultimately she would give up her family to save everybody. But Wanda can now change reality, and judging by how in control of her chaos magic she was by the end of WandaVision, not to mention the post-credit scene, it seems like she knows exactly how to make her reality whatever she wants it. And this is now a pretty big issue because of the post-credit scene where she found her children. How do we know that this is an issue? Because of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It picks up right where WandaVision leaves off, and of course where Spider-Man No Way Home leaves off, which is rumored to be a multiverse movie as well. The hex that the Scarlet Witch cast already caused some people like Monica to have their DNA altered. What more effects could come from the Scarlet Witch tampering with realities in order to find her kids? Only chaos could really happen when Wanda sets out to do this. And this is actually a way bigger threat than before, because you see, in WandaVision, Wanda knew that her kids and Vision were fake, and she knew that she was controlling everything. Even if she didn't remember doing it, she knew that she was in control, and she knew that people were suffering by her hand. Yet she continued to want to live in her perfect reality with her kids and Vision, even though real people were hurting and her family was fake. But now, Wanda is in the real world, and in the post-credit scene, she heard the voices of her kids, implying that they are alive somewhere. There's now a chance that her children are real, and a chance that she could actually have a real family. Wanda captured a whole town to have her fake family. What will she do when she has a chance to have a real one? Especially now that she's in control of her chaos magic and has the Darkhold to learn from. And the Darkhold isn't exactly a good teaching book. As Agatha called it, it's the book of the damned, and it was written and forged by the evil elder god Chthon. But more on that in just a bit. One thing that WandaVision never really explained in any detail whatsoever is the Nexus commercial. Well, really, they didn't explain any of the commercials in any details, but specifically the Nexus commercial was never explained. But the Nexus commercial said it was for a pill that helps anchor you back to your own reality, or the reality of your choosing. You see, in the Marvel Universe, every reality has a Nexus being, and these beings are essentially responsible for holding up their reality, keeping it together. And sometimes they alter it slightly and alter the timeline for the good of the reality, but for the most part, they're supposed to make sure that it stays together. Now, of course, Wanda doesn't really know that she is a Nexus being. She's just now learning about her chaos magic and the fact that she is indeed the Scarlet Witch. But there's no doubt that her being a Nexus being will be explored in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, because as he's always been saying, his job is to protect the reality. And this is another reason why Wanda is going to be a bad guy in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Madness because she's going to be trying to do something that Doctor Strange is not going to be okay with. And I believe that this is going to be her tearing through different realities in order to find her kids. You see, before WandaVision, Wanda didn't really know anything about witches. Agatha told her that she has been a witch since she was born, and Wanda said no. She argued with her. And I'm still not exactly convinced that Wanda is indeed a true witch. But regardless, she is learning witchcraft from the Darkhold. And as I said before, the Darkhold is not a good book. It's an evil book. So everything that is being taught inside of the book is not for good, it's for bad. And Wanda is now learning everything inside of this book, so she's essentially learning evil hexes. Hexes that we can assume that she is going to use to find her kids because that's what it looked like in the post-credit scene. It actually looked like she was looking in different realities, universes, realms, whatever you want to call it, for her children. As she was hovering over the bed reading her book, we could see a bunch of different circles surrounding her. Now you can also see these circles in the Darkhold when Agatha Harkness is opening it up to talk about what it says about the Scarlet Witch. They're on the left page. These certainly do look like they could be different realities. So there's a very good chance that this book is teaching Wanda how to actually go to different ones. The only problem with this is that Wanda is a Nexus being. She is actually responsible for maintaining the reality. So when you have somebody responsible for keeping the reality together go off the deep end and start breaking realities, it's never good. So yes, Wanda is indeed going to be a villain originally, but she's not going to be the next big bad. And this can be a relief for some people. I know some people wanted to see Wanda be a big bad villain, but a lot of people don't want her to be one. She's been through a lot and doesn't deserve to be a villain, she just wants her family. And after Doctor Strange kind of talks to her and whips her into shape a little bit, she'll be alright, but unfortunately she'll have released the next big bad of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this is going to be either the evil elder god Chthon, Nightmare, or Mephisto. One of these beings, or a combination of the three of them, will eventually show up. And you have to take into account that Nightmare was originally going to be the first Doctor Strange villain in the first film, but they decided to go with Nightmare for the second film, which Wanda is going to be a part of. But the interesting thing about all of these villains is that they are actually trapped in different dimensions, different realities, not in the main one that Wanda is responsible for holding together. However, they are all trying to get back to the main reality. You see, in the comics, Chthon actually created the Darkhold, and he is the one responsible for giving Wanda his chaos magic, because he is also the creator of chaos magic as well, and he did both of these things, create the Darkhold and give Wanda chaos magic, so he could one day eventually return to this main reality. So if you have a big bad, such as one of these three, who are trying to get back to the Earth reality from where they once came from, now is going to be a pretty good time, because the Nexus being responsible for holding the reality together is actually going to be tearing it apart, leaving a perfect opportunity for the villain to make his return. I believe this will happen because of what Agatha said in the WandaVision finale. She said sort of the same thing 2 different times. She said, "You have no idea what you've done, and you have no idea what you've unleashed." She even went as far as to say, "You're going to need me." But she'll have Doctor Strange to help her, fortunately, in Multiverse of Madness. But Agatha is referring to one of these ancient beings being released. Wanda essentially released the Scarlet Witch, and with that really released her chaos magic, which could open a gateway for Chthon to return. After all, that was his plan in the comics, to possess somebody like Wanda as a vessel for his way to return. So again, Wanda might be an unintentional villain. Luckily, this is kind of Doctor Strange's specialty. Preventing demons from coming into the reality and taking over it and destroying it is kind of what he does. And this is exactly why the two connect. One is because the multiverse is going to be thrown into madness. Wanda's going to go looking for her kids, and she's going to tear apart the reality. And the second is, while she's doing this, she's actually opened up the universe for the eventual return of this big bad. So to end it with the inherent question, is Wanda good or bad? She's good. She's just going to stop at nothing to get her real family back. However, unfortunately, as she tries to do that, she has unleashed an evil big bad, and will shatter the multiverse in the process, which Doctor Strange is going to have to help with both. And that's when we're going to see Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch team up to face on the next big bad. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has already began filming, so more on them soon, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. Be sure to let me know what you think about this video in the comments down below. Don't forget to give it a like, and for live updates, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.